J-Ray 501 here. Nuclear city officials respond to an angry crowd. This is from San Clemente regarding the San Onofre nuclear generating power station. This first meeting that they had on September 27th was strictly one-sided, with the Nuclear Regulatory Agency and the San Onofre nuclear generating station officials explained important safety lessons learned from the industry from the Fukushima Daiichi disaster March. Now, while this short video is shows nothing other than how pissed off people were actually.
The mood was often tense at a September 27th meeting with nuclear officials in San Clemente. More than 200 attended the meeting with the Nuclear Regulatory Commission and San Onofre nuclear plant officials who explained some safety lessons learned from the nuclear disaster in Fukushima, Japan. Officials told the skeptical crowd there was no immediate risk from the San Onofre plant, but new instruments should be installed to monitor nuclear waste cooling equipment, new seismic studies should be undertaken, and systems improved for dealing with a total lack of power to the station. The meeting was organized by San Clemente City Council in response to a groundswell of concern after the Japanese nuclear disaster in March. A second meeting with experts brought in by local environmentalists will happen in October.
As we've continuously stated since the unfortunate events in March, our industry is strongly focused on understanding what occurred in Japan and what steps we can take as an industry to be prepared to experience and sustain such an event here in the United States.
Commercial nuclear power plants in the United States do not pose an imminent risk.
I mean, here you are interrupting. Gary, you have your question. Would you like to be removed from the meeting?
We're here for dialogue, man. Turn around. Turn around. We're not looking for safety. We want your job.
Gary, I'm going to have you removed. I know you want to stay, so please hold your thoughts.
And however, spent fuel pools, as discussed in the task force report, it's an important area. There's spent fuel that's stored there. So because of that, there are recommendations to make sure that the water stays in the pool. At San Onofre, it is a seismic structure designed to the requirements that were determined during the siting and the update analysis that were done.
Everyone have a nice night at the circus. You three up there should be ashamed of yourself. You should be ashamed of yourself. Get real jobs. Get some real jobs. Everyone that's saying shut up, you're sheep just like they want you to be. Have a good evening. Have a nice life.
That was the best part of the whole thing right there.
And one thing I did want to point out, one of the recommendations, in fact, is to make sure that the ability to put water in the spent fuel pool in a beyond design basis event is available.
Put another nickel in the machine. Hold the handle. Next question.
Okay, if the heckling is going to be going on, this is not a productive use of the community's time.
It's heckling because you
We've got a
silenced us.
structure here. Everyone had an opportunity to weigh in on the structure. Now, can we please respect it? Thank you.
It actually has happened in America. It will happen again. It's only a matter of time.
I was never really involved in the nuclear issue until whistleblowers came to us. What else we can say with certainty without the benefit of having independent experts here with us tonight? Overdue earthquake faults exceed the design basis for San Onofre. The plant is 2 years from the end of its intended lifespan. We live next to the second most dangerous nuclear power plant with the worst safety record out of all 104 in the United States. Our so-called 30-foot tsunami wall is only 14 feet above high tide.
Yeah, that's the real issue. Is it the safety wall, which they actually rebuilt, is only 14 feet tall? I mean, that's kind of absurd. So, then they had another meeting, and that meeting was just the other night, let's see, October 11th, 2011, and in that meeting this gentleman, Gary Hedrick, leader of San Clemente Green, he brought in Daniel Hirsch, Arnie Gundersen, Dr. William Perkins, Gil Alexander from the Southern California Edison. He sat through the presentation, but he didn't make any comments. It was probably smart of him. He probably would have been tarred and feathered. And also Dr. Helen Caldicott. So let me just read some of this. I did make a video on Arnie Gundersen's presentation, but he's the only one that I could find that posted anything. There's no, as of yet, I'm not finding any videos. So, a nuclear calamity of the intensity that struck Japan on March 11th could happen at San Onofre, San Clemente, California. A series of speakers told San Clemente's elected leaders at a nearly 5-hour community meeting Tuesday night. It might never happen, or it might happen tomorrow. If that happened tomorrow, most of us would not be surprised. More than 200 people from all over Southern California gathered in the San Clemente Community Center for the second of 3 meetings in which the San Clemente City Council is addressing lessons learned from Japan's Fukushima disaster. At a community meeting 2 weeks ago, the council heard from the NRC and Southern California Edison and an interjurisdictional planning committee that would coordinate an evacuation of San Clemente if that were ever necessary. Okay. Arnie Gundersen said epidemiologists have told him that as many as 1 million Japanese will develop cancers over the next 20 years as a result of Fukushima's radioactive releases. Dr. William Perkins, a retired pediatrician with Physicians for Social Responsibility, cited a 1982 Nuclear Regulatory Commission report that he said stated that a San Onofre meltdown could result in 130,000 prompt fatalities, 300,000 latent cancers, and 600,000 cases of genetic defects within 35 miles. Southern California, Edison spokesman Gil sat there, yes. They're actually saying that San Onofre is safe. Of course they are. Because in order to make sure that the design is up to date before they get relicensed, which they'll get relicensed. The NRC relicenses everybody. They don't care. They just pass them out, lower the standard, make more money. That's all they care about. Dr. Helen Caldicott, a Nobel Peace Prize nominee and co-founder of Physicians for Social Responsibility, said via a live video feed that it was a gross malfeasance to build 2 nuclear reactors next to an earthquake fault. She said that in a worst-case nuclear plant scenario, which she sees as possible at San Onofre, 10 million people could be at risk in a nuclear release, depending on the wind direction. She said that the Rasmussen report from the 1970s, updated by the Union of Concerned Scientists, stated that 3,300 people could die within several days, and 10,000 to 100,000 could develop acute radiation sickness within weeks. Hypothyroidism could affect 250,000 people, and 350,000 males could go temporarily sterile, and there could be 3,000 spontaneous abortions. Over the years, she said 250,000 could develop cancers. You're sitting next to a cancer factory, Dr. Caldicott said. You are running a cancer factory that generates electricity. Hirsch said 8.5 million people live within 50 miles of San Onofre, the distance that the U.S. federal regulators recommended that Americans around Fukushima should flee after March 11. Yet, here the NRC's emergency planning zone is 10 miles around San Onofre. A nuclear plant, he said, was approved without a workable evacuation plan. There's only one road that travels right next to San Onofre. And there's no other way to get out or away from the nuclear power plant. So in the event of an earthquake, tsunami, if any area of that road is broken or swamped, underwater, or destroyed by a tsunami, then that would leave millions of people stranded without any way to get down to or from San Diego, unless you go an hour and a half around the mountain and the area that sits behind San Clemente. One local resident said that after going to both of the meetings that he was left convinced that we really are unprepared. No kidding, you didn't have to go to a meeting to know that. So, I think one of the sad things about this was that that they really, the San Clemente City Council really has no jurisdiction. They are going to start putting regular meetings, city council meetings, that are, you know, open discussions about the San Onofre nuclear power plant. But on the other hand, they have no jurisdiction over what happens there. So we're really just held hostage at the NRC, the hands of the NRC. And it's, of course, business as usual. So I will continue to see if I can find more information on what really transpired, or if I can actually find Helen Caldicott's presentation. That should be taped as well. Anyway, I just wanted to put this out here, and God bless, stay safe,